At a vibrant engagement party hosted by a mutual friend, I first encountered Celeste. She possessed an effortless magnetism, the kind that drew people in without her even trying. Her laughter, her confidence, the way she carried herself. It was like watching fireflies flock to a lantern. That night we talked for hours, lost in our own world. We shared stories about our favorite musicians, our dreams of backpacking across Europe, and the personal goals we each held close. It wasn't the kind of surface-level flirtation parties often inspire. It felt electric, faded, like two puzzle pieces snapping into place. Within a week, we were officially a couple. 6 months later, we moved in together, sharing a modest but cozy apartment filled with books, records, and inside jokes scrawled on sticky notes. A year into our relationship, on a rainy Sunday morning, I proposed. We were barefoot in our warm kitchen, sipping coffee, her hair still tangled from sleep. I didn't have a grand plan, just a ring and a heart full of certainty. She said yes before I could even finish the question, her eyes sparkling with the kind of joy you never forget. To the outside world, we were that couple, the golden pair, deeply in sync, blissfully in love. But beneath the glossy exterior, subtle cracks had begun to form. At first, those cracks were nearly invisible. Celeste's naturally flirtatious nature, once a trait I admired, began pushing past the lines of what felt respectful. She thrived on attention, always the center of every room, but now the smiles lingered longer, the touches felt more intimate, the comments more provocative. When I expressed discomfort, she brushed it off with a quick laugh or a teasing remark. "Don't be so old-fashioned," she'd say. Or, "You knew I was a free spirit when you met me." She spoke often and passionately about emotional authenticity, open relationships, and the importance of exploring sexual freedom. To her, these ideas were cornerstones of modern love. And while I believed in growing with your partner and embracing change, something about the direction we were heading felt less like evolution and more like erosion. I wasn't rigid or controlling. I just wanted the promises we made to mean something. 3 months before the wedding, we attended a laid-back backyard barbecue hosted by one of her friends. The air smelled of grilled meat and sunscreen, and laughter echoed across the yard. Midway through the evening, one of her close girlfriends casually asked, "So, are you two still doing that Miami trip before the vows? You know, the wild bash." I turned to Celeste, surprised. For a split second, her radiant smile faltered. "Oh," she said lightly, waving it off. "She's just talking about a girl's trip. No big deal." But something in her tone didn't sit right. There was a flicker in her eyes. Not quite guilt, not quite defiance, but something in between. Later that night, once we were alone, I asked her directly, "This party you're considering, is it what I think it is?" She paused. Then, in the most nonchalant voice imaginable, she replied, "Yes. It's just a swingers event, Andrew. A harmless curiosity. I haven't even decided if I'll go. I just wanted to explore the idea. Isn't it better to get these things out of our system before we get married?" Her casual tone hit me like a slap. "Celeste," I said slowly, my voice low and steady, "that's not who I am. And you know it." She shrugged. "It's not cheating if we agree on the rules. We could set boundaries." But I hadn't agreed to any of those rules. That moment revealed a chasm in our values that I could no longer ignore. She tried to backtrack, promised she'd cancel the plan, insisted it was just a passing thought. And because I still wanted to believe in her, in us, I chose to trust her. 2 weeks before the wedding, everything was set. The venue was booked. Guests were flying in. The rings sat in a velvet box on our dresser. I was anxious, but not because of nerves, because of hope. I wanted to believe we'd moved past the tension, that we were aligned again. Then one evening a message arrived. It was from someone I barely knew, an acquaintance of Celeste's who I'd met only once or twice. The message was simple but devastating. Asterisk. "Hey, I know this isn't really my business, but I thought you should know, Celeste went to that party last night. She asked us not to tell you, but I figured you deserved to know." Asterisk. My heart dropped. I reread the message 3 times, hoping it would change. I tried calling her. No answer. On a hunch, I checked her location, something we'd enabled for convenience during a trip months earlier. She was across town, near a private address I didn't recognize. I didn't sleep that night. When she finally returned home the next morning, her makeup was faintly smudged. Her hair carried the unmistakable scent of cologne, not mine. "Celeste," I asked quietly, "were you at that party?" She didn't flinch. "No," she said with practiced ease. "I was with Elise. We had some wine." The lie rolled off her tongue so effortlessly, it made my skin crawl. That was the moment I truly knew. Not just that she had betrayed me, but that she could lie to my face without hesitation, without remorse. The days that followed felt like a slow-motion performance. I played the role of the devoted fiancée. Smiled. I helped finalize seating charts. I kissed her goodnight. But all the while I was planning my exit. The night before the wedding, while she laughed and drank champagne with her friends in a hotel suite, I packed a small bag. Passport, cash, and a few clothes. I left no note, no grand explanation. I took a cab to the airport and booked the first international flight I could get on. I told no one, not my parents, not my friends. Just vanished. The next morning, as guests arrived and the ceremony time came and went, whispers must have turned into murmurs. Someone must have eventually told her I was gone. That I wasn't coming. For weeks she tried to reach me. Emails, voicemails, mutual friends forwarding messages, asking if I was okay. I ignored them all. Not out of cruelty, but because the man she had betrayed, the man who once believed in forever, no longer existed. I started over in a quiet country far from the noise. New phone number. No social media. A simple life filled with peace, not performance. Sometimes I wonder if she ever truly grasped what she lost. Not just the wedding, but a partner who would have stood by her for life. Someone who believed love was built on trust, not convenience. She may tell her version of the story, that I ran, that I was too closed-minded, too scared. But I didn't run. I walked away from someone who didn't value the future we were building. And in doing so I found my peace.